Hi, good vibers, welcome. My name is Wallis. I have a 30-minute yin practice for you today. You're going to need some yoga props, so a yoga bolster or a nice firm cushion, and a couple of blocks are handy just in case you need them. If you don't have blocks, grab a nice chunky dictionary or something similar. So this practice today will actually finish standing. So it's a beautiful practice to do first thing in the morning. It's energizing, it's nice and restorative in the beginning, and then we build up to a little more energizing shapes toward the end. So feel free at the end of practice to come back to Shavasana if you need. Honor your body. If you're feeling like you need rest, then please do so. All right, enjoy. Okay, so we're going to begin in a comfortable seat. So I invite you to sit up on your bolster or blocks, books, whatever you've got. Get really comfy, cross-legged, or even Japanese style on the shins is good. And then close your eyes down. And just take a moment to acknowledge how you feel. And sometimes there are layers of emotion. Just noting each feeling or thought as it arises. Today's practice is one of awakening the compassion within us. And let this practice, each pose, serve as an opportunity to tune in to where you are truly at, and lean into this sense of kindness, warmth, and love that resides within you. And sometimes it can take a little time to feel the kindness. It's not always available or on the surface. So be patient. Allow it to unfold as it will, pose by pose. And place your hands on your belly. We'll take 3 deep breaths together. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the nose. And then one more natural breath as you wish. In and out. Bring your palms to touch at the center of your chest. Have a beautiful practice, good vibers. Namaste. Okay, so we're going to take our bolster or a nice firm cushion and bring it into the side. So I invite you to sit on your left hip and start working right side body. So hug the cushion in and then reach up with your left arm. Stretch away from the bolster for a moment and then pour yourself over the bolster, cascade all the way down. Take your top arm over and rest. Your legs can sit knee over knee, or you can slide your top leg back a little bit, and this can help to begin to open more into the front of the hip and down the side waist. If you slide your knee a little further back, you'll start to feel more sense of opening through the quad. And if this feels a little bit too intense, just bring the knees a little closer together. Make sure your head feels nice and comfy. For some of us, it'll be necessary to place something underneath the head. So you can reach for a cushion or a block and use the block to help stabilize your head. And then we rest, closing your eyes down. Take a few breaths to truly land. It's super important that if you find the body becomes a little agitated or uncomfortable, reorganize yourself. Part of this practice is stillness, but you shouldn't be afraid to move a little if you need. Allow yourself to deeply surrender to the experience of opening through right side body. The sense of letting go, that grip of muscle to bone, let it soften. And let the bolster or cushion underneath you really take the weight of your body. And then take a moment to acknowledge where you're at, how you feel here in this moment. We have about 1.5 minutes left. Sometimes a minute can feel like an eternity, and other times it'll skip by in the blink of an eye. So really try to sit in the awareness of the practice. And as you do this, moment by moment, breath by breath, it feels like you have the capacity to expand time somewhat. And this is deeply nourishing for your mind and for your body. So as we move into the final minute, we're going to take a few rounds of breath together. If it feels comfortable to breathe in and out through the nose, maintain this. This is really good for the nervous system. Otherwise, breathing out through the mouth is welcome. It can be a really nice way to release. And breathing in and breathing out. Couple more rounds. Take one more breath. And then carefully bring your top arm and place it on the mat in front of you. And just help yourself to turn forward and down over the bolster. And bring your forehead to stacked palms. And this is known as crocodile pose. The bolster is under your belly. And relax through the center. Let the bolster or pillow press in toward your spine. This works a little on your psoas. So gently stretch this muscle, which does tend to tighten when we're in fight, flight, freeze mode. If you have digestive issues, it might be a little uncomfortable. Try to sit in the awareness of that discomfort just for a few more breaths. And when you're ready, gently bring yourself up to all fours. We're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow, so stacking wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then breathe in, lift your chin, lift your tailbone. Breathe out and curl in, chin to chest, rounding through the spine. Take this 4 or 5 more times. If you're practicing in the morning, this is a beautiful way to awaken the body. A couple of static holds and then a little movement. Last round. Okay, so from here we're going to move into the next pose, sleeping swan. Now don't worry, we will come back to the second side of mermaid, but we're going to tag on a pose here. So for tighter hips, I encourage you to use your pillow or bolster underneath your hips. So bring it to the center of the mat and then step your right foot over the top. Walk your right foot all the way to the left side of the mat and then lower your shin down. Make sure the bolster is underneath your pelvis and you can feel the sense of evenness through both hips. And then bring hands to mat. Now just check in that your knee, your whole shin and ankle is actually on the mat. If you're further back and the knee is lifted up like this will be really intense on the ITB, the outer thigh. So best practice is to place the shin and the knee down. Now we bring both hands or elbows or even forehead all the way down and begin that practice of softening and surrendering to the shape. And for some of us, we'll need a modification here. So you'll slide your props out the way and you'll lay on your back for a reclined swan or figure four shape. So bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh and then clasp your left thigh with both hands. For a little more, take hands around shin. You can also do this up against the wall as an option. So you'll be placing that left foot on the wall, right ankle just as it is over left thigh, and then you can relax your arms and shoulders. This is really good for people that have injuries in the knees or the ankles or are really tight through the hips. And once again, tuning into how you feel. Notice what comes up. And shapes where we release through the hips can be quite intense. Sometimes the waves of emotion, frustration, agitation. Just acknowledge these. And simply in the act of acknowledging emotion, it takes away the power that it has. Naturally, your mind will wander, and that's okay. Notice that's happening, and come back into your body, arriving in the sensation in that right hip. Notice the compression in right knee, the lengthening of the left leg behind you, and maybe the deep sense of opening through the front of left hip. And then check in again. How do I feel? And the final phase of the pose now, so last 6 or so breaths. And take a couple more together. Nice breath in through the nose, and out through the nose. And one more in through the nose. And if you need, out through the mouth. And whether you're reclined or you're forward in Sleeping Swan, gently make your way up to sit. I'm going to come to rebound, which is lying on our back. So take your legs out long and relax back in a neutral place, arms by your sides. So it's kind of like a Shavasana, but we take just a minute here to reset. Rebound in our yin practice is a way for the body to absorb the experience it's just had and to reset. And let the waves of sensation wash over you and try to stay present with what you're experiencing. Soften through the belly. Take one more breath. Then we'll draw knees into the chest. And I invite you to roll to the left side and just pause a moment so we continue to move really slowly from start to finish. And then press your way up to sit. Okay, so we're going to come to our second side. So we'll need to reach for our cushions or bolster and slide it in by right hip. So we work left side body now. Take your top arm, your right arm, and reach away from the bolster. Nice big stretch. And then draw yourself over the bolster. Top arm reaches, and then begin to soften and surrender into the shape. Take support for your head and neck if needed. And reorganize your legs, knees stacking, or slide your top leg back to open more to the front of your left hip, left quad. So for anyone who's pregnant, and apologies I didn't mention this on the first side, instead of having the bolster under your waistline, bring it under your rib cage. So just a slight adjustment there. That'll help to support the belly. You can also do this over 2 bolsters, the same effect. And start to layer in this element of compassion now. And once we've acknowledged where we're truly at, we can start to bring a friendly quality to it. So for some of us, the truth of where we're at is actually okay. The job that we have is still maintained, the income is still there. Life hasn't changed that much, except we can't maybe catch up with our friends like we used to. And acknowledging that, and perhaps feelings of guilt or a little confusion around the normalcy is very, very reasonable. And just bring a friendly attention to what that is. Be compassionate to yourself within the awareness of where you are at right now. For others, there has been great loss, grief, shame, a feeling of distance, not only emotional isolation, but literal isolation for us all. So again, acknowledging those feelings and just bringing that beautiful, loving attention with awareness. And that is present moment awareness. Moving into the final phase of the pose now, so maybe 6 or so breaths left. Take one more breath. And release. And rolling forward once more into your bolster. So facing forward and down, forehead to stacked palms, crocodile. Soften the belly. Allow the cushion underneath you to sink in, massaging your internal organs and relaxing the tension that you might be feeling through your gut and the psoas muscle. One more breath. And when you're ready, bring hands under shoulders. Come back to all fours and we'll just take 3 rounds of cat-cow this time. Inhaling, lift up, and exhaling, curl in. One more in and out. So sleeping swan on the second side, the left leg steps forward this time. Walk your left foot all the way across to the right side and draw your shin down. And then staying on hands, elbows, or coming all the way forward. And remember, this side might be quite different, so really acknowledging what your left hip needs and modifying where necessary. Just to demonstrate our modification option for those of us that need it. So sliding the bolster away from the mat. And then come to lay down left ankle on top of right thigh. Hold on to right thigh or shin. Stay in the awareness of whatever arises. For some of us, in times of great emotion, it can actually work in the opposite way, that we become numb to what we might be feeling. If that is happening for you and you're not getting any kind of upwelling of feeling or emotion, that's okay. Work with that. Instead, draw your attention to the sensation in your body. And what is being felt right now in your left hip, left knee, ankle? And what are you experiencing through the lower spine? Are there other parts of your body that are responding? Is there tension in your neck or shoulders? Are you scrunching through the toes of the long leg behind you or gripping through the fingertips? And bring this curious kind attention to parts of your body. Moving into the final phase, we'll take another 6 or so breaths. And breath be gentle and steady. Ideally in through the nose. If you need, out through the mouth. A beautiful way to release. And we'll take a final breath together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, so slowly, carefully press your way up from sleeping swan and come to lay down on your back. If you're already reclined, and stay right where you are, releasing legs and stretch out for rebound once more. So we take only 6 breaths here. Just a little moment to reset. One more breath, deep into the belly. And out. And then carefully bringing knees to chest. And we'll roll over onto left side. And pause for a moment here. And then slowly come on up. Okay. So we're going to come to kneeling on the mat with the toes tucked under. And then bring the hands to the mat in front of you. So we're moving into dangling, which is a standing forward fold. If you feel like you need a little support, something to rest your hands on, take a bolster in front of you, or you can even use your books or your blocks here. Then we're going to rock back onto the heels and we're going to straighten out the legs. Now add a little bend into your knees just to really soften through the hamstrings. Lift your sit bones up a little bit higher and let your head hang down.
You can stay with hands to mat or yoga prop, or you can hold on to elbows. And for those of us that want a little more through the shoulders, clasp your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, and gently draw the hands away from the back body. If you find dangling really challenging for your low back, or if you need a little something less energetic at this point, depending on the time of day, you can bring a bolster under your knees and fold forward into caterpillar. And I have one more option for you. For some of us who need some support in dangling, set yourself up next to a wall and just lean back with your butt on the wall, and that'll add as a really nice stabilizer for you. Now, for a lot of us, hanging upside down for longer than a few breaths can be quite intense. So just acknowledge how you're feeling, try to stay in the shape. Yin can really teach us how to feel into discomfort in a kind of a way. We're safe, we're conscious of where we're at, so there's really nothing to be afraid of. But sometimes the feelings arise. You're not sure if you can maintain the shape. Be curious about where your breath can take you and how much more patient you can be. Allow the experience to unfold moment by moment without anticipation. And our last few breaths, this pose a little shorter. And take one more together. And release your arms down, let them hang, and then slowly bending the knees, roll up to stand. Nice and slow. Let your head be super heavy. When you get to the top, let shoulders roll down and back. And once again, like that, lifting shoulders up, rolling them down and back. And one more, breathe in. And out. Take the arms up to the sky, big breath in. And hands through center, breathe out. Namaste.